My name is Katie Fuker. I'm a sophomore at Elmwood High School.
Katie, what is your definition of leadership?
My definition of leadership is someone who takes control of a situation. They motivate people to work towards a common goal, and they are okay with compromise and make the situation beneficial to the majority. And they're willing to go against the grain and be confident when other people might criticize them.
Excellent. How have you learned about leadership?
There are many different areas in my life in which I have encountered new leadership skills. A few of them are FFA Sectional Leadership Workshop, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, reading that book in class and doing some deeper studies of that. The Dunn St. Croix Leadership Conference and going to that and listening to some of the speakers there. Church youth rallies and listening to speakers there and just being a leader there. Reading the Strengths Finder and finding out what my strengths are in that book, and just playing sports and watching coaches and seeing how they take lead.
So who are some of those influential leaders in your life, and how do they actually lead? So some of those coaches or other people?
Well, coaches definitely, because I spend a lot of time around them and all the different sports that I do, especially because they are with you through all the hard games, because sports aren't always going to be easy. You're going to lose some games, you're going to not always do your best, and coaches, they're with you through those hard times, and that really shows that leaders aren't always going to have successes, but they become leaders when they get you through the hard times. Also, my parents, because they really present opportunities to me, but they don't force anything on me. They are dependable, but encouraging, and they instill good qualities, and if I make a mistake, they're going to put me back on the right track, but they're going to ultimately let me make the decisions I want to make. And finally, I think friends are big leaders because they lead by example, and they can push you out of your comfort zone to try some new things and really excel, and they can help you be competitive.
Do you feel leading is difficult at your age?
I feel leading is difficult at any age, but especially for people trying to lead at our age, because the people we are trying to lead, we tend to know on a more intimate level. Even if we don't necessarily like the people, we tend to know more about them, and they know more about us, and we tend to have more, I guess you could say, ammunition, and they could turn against you in a way, and that makes it really hard for people to step out of their comfort zone and take control. And I feel like it tends to be easier as you get older, because you may only know the people in a boss to coworker relationship, and the relationship might not be as intimate.
What do you feel some of the challenges are that your generation faces when it comes to leadership?
One that I feel is a major issue is lack of conflict resolution. People like to complain about issues, but they don't try to solve them themselves. They just want other people to solve the issues for them, and they don't want to face the facts that maybe they are part of the problem. And I think people would much rather hide behind a screen or hide in the shadows, and it's hard to be a role model because they don't want to face the criticism. And all of this ties into poor communication, and I think phones have a big role in that, because we are so used to communicating through them that it becomes hard to have face-to-face interaction. Communicating through phones tends to cause people to ignore the issues and just cause bigger issues.
Do you feel everyone has leadership qualities?
I think everyone has leadership qualities because I think whether we know it or not, we're all a role model for someone, especially younger people. Different personalities equate to different styles of leadership because when you think about parents, if everyone parented the same exact way, then kids would all act the same way, and no kids are the same. And so this really goes to show that everyone has leadership qualities, but you just have to find your strengths and use them. Some people choose to be vocal while leading, and this can benefit them. So I feel like some qualities will work better in certain situations, but I think everybody has a role. You just have to find it.
Why do you feel some people choose not to lead?
People have a lot of fears when it comes to leading. I think fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of criticism. People don't want to be chastised for their actions, and they just would much rather stay in their own little bubble. And a lot of people just don't want to deal with the pressure. If it kind of goes along with, if you don't try in the first place, then you don't have to try at all. So if you just stay below average, then you'll never have to be above average. I think this goes along with self-underestimation and also underestimating groups. I think this can happen with coaching. Maybe a coach will say or think that, well, this team doesn't have the potential to win, and so that kind of personally kicks them down a notch and makes them not want to try as hard, and that can really affect their leadership. Sheer laziness and lack of attentiveness, especially in school. You see a lot of kids who have the potential there and they just choose not to use it because they are either scared or they're just plain lazy.
Look at your own leadership qualities. What are they?
After taking the Gallup Strengths Finder, my top 5 were discipline, consistency, significance, competition, and communication. These fall into the executing and influencing categories.
So when you took that test and got your results, what was your reaction? Did your results make sense?
I was really surprised at how well these explained some of my reactions to stimulus in the real world. And for example, discipline, my desire for plan and order. I always want to feel in control, and when I don't, I feel really frustrated. For example, working on class projects, when a teacher doesn't give a deadline, it can be really frustrating for me because I want to know when the deadline is so I can plan how much time each day I need to work on the project. Also, little errors can be irritating, and I'm a little bit of a word police, and so that all falls into discipline. Consistency and competition, I think these two really clashed a little bit, and it really kind of confused me because I want all people to be treated equally, and I want all people to have the same amount of success, but then I'm also competitive, so I want to be the winner. So these two really confused me. So if somebody was doing better than me, this kind of caused a little bit of jealousy because I wanted to do as good as them. But then yet, if I am the one winning, I also want everybody else to be winning too. So I found this really kind of intriguing. And I think this is partly because my parents really demanded that I be kind to others, and this didn't really stop my competitiveness, but I always remembered that when I do succeed in something, that take a moment to thank those people who have helped me succeed, and don't be too cocky, but be humble. The significance, that one really made a lot of sense to me. I was surprised because I've always had the desire to stand out and I want to be noticed everywhere I go, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, or even just out in the community. And so this one really definitely made a lot of sense as to why I always wanted people to notice me, but it's helped me realize that sometimes it's not always about me. Communication, this one was pretty much a given because I feel like I myself am a pretty bubbly person and I like to know how other people are feeling, and I want them to be vocal so I know how I can help them. And when people aren't vocal, it can be frustrating for me because I always want to know what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And so I thought all these tied together pretty well. They all kind of balance each other out, and I thought that was really cool.
How do you show leadership in your life?
There's multiple ways that I show leadership in my life. Definitely in FFA, being a young officer and not always knowing what to do, it can be a little frustrating, but it has also showed me that leaders don't always know what to do, and you have to cut them some slack sometimes. Even though I didn't always know what I have to do, there's still expectations that need to be met, and you have to use communication to find out what needs to be done and just get it done, and that also goes along with discipline. I've also used leadership skills through my church and going to youth rallies just because a lot of those kids there, they are often forced by their parents and they maybe aren't very far in their religious journey and they close themselves off to what's happening around them. And I've learned to just be a leader by example and encouraging them to open themselves up and just try and have fun, but hey, they might think you're weird and kind of crazy, but that's okay too. Also in the classroom, helping students with homework and just being competitive can push others to do their best, and doing your homework doesn't mean you can't have fun, and it doesn't make you a nerd.
How have you used your knowledge of your strengths in your leadership positions?
FFA, communication is key. You don't know until you ask. In the classroom, it's okay to want discipline, but not everyone is gonna be the same as you. Some people don't work on the time frames and schedules that you do, so it's okay to make time frames and schedules for yourself, but also understanding that other people don't work in the same way that I do. And communication, I can definitely, not everything has to be a competition. I tend to be very competitive, but sometimes just remembering that not everything has to be a competition to beat somebody else. It can be, you can help others along in their journey to help them win too, and that's part of being a leader.
How can you use what you've learned about leadership into your sports career?
I think part of that is really utilizing and emphasizing on my strengths. Praise from the people you look up to is great, but accomplishing your own goals is even better, and especially for me, because I'm a disciplined person and I like working off schedules, setting goals is something that I think I really need to utilize, especially because I like getting stuff done. So having that satisfaction of accomplishing something, I think, would definitely work from that. You can't wait for someone else to motivate you, because if you're waiting for others to motivate you, you're never really going to reach your full potential. And when you motivate yourself and work hard, others are going to notice your success. And discipline, you have to manage your time and motivate others, but really you need to motivate yourself. And communication. On the basketball court, I think I can really use this just because sometimes people don't want to be vocal, but I always want to, so I think I can really use that to help my team.
How have your results been when leading?
I think sometimes we lead without even realizing it. In volleyball, the lack of communication was really a struggle, and it was kind of hard at first because I was a sophomore playing on the varsity team, and my sister's a senior, so technically you would think that she's a senior, so she should be the leader. And she was a leader, but she's also not a very vocal person. And it was very hard for me to not overstep my boundaries because I wanted the team to improve, and she did too, but she didn't always vocalize how she felt. So it was this kind of balancing act of not stepping over my boundaries but still motivating the team. So it was really interesting to see that I could still be a leader even though I wasn't necessarily the oldest person on the court. And then in track, qualifying for the state tournament, that was a really cool personal success because I feel track, you only get as far as you're willing to push yourself. And our relay team was 2 seniors, a junior, and I was a freshman. And I felt like there was a lot of expectations for me, but just being willing to set the expectations aside and just being willing to work hard. And I feel like even though you're the youngest, you can still be a leader and lead by example and being willing to work hard. And just in church, you can lead by example there too, because some people are just not willing to show how they feel because they're too afraid that people are going to judge them. But all you can do is try. It kind of goes along with the saying, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. And I think that's a good quote for all leaders because you can only do so much as a leader. You can't force anybody to do anything. But just because you don't always have success, that doesn't mean that you need to give up.
How will your experiences with leadership help to shape your future?
These will definitely help because I can be a better leader for others going through the self-evaluation process. I know what's going to work for me, and knowing what my skills are, I can better help others. And knowing my strengths will assist me in finding a career that I will be passionate about and that I will enjoy in the future. And knowing my strengths can also help me determine my weaknesses and help me figure out what I need to work on. And it might be something as simple as determining the kind of people that I would like to associate with so that I can have healthy relationships in life and being happy.
Thank you, Katie.
My name is Taylor DeLong. I'm a sophomore at Elmwood High School. I'm 16 years old, and my coach has been teaching me about leadership for a very long time, and I'm going to tell you some things about myself being a leader.
Excellent. Taylor, what is your definition of leadership?
My definition of leadership is bringing a group of people together and stepping up when there isn't that person there to lead, and working together to achieve a common goal and common ground.
How have you actually learned about leadership?
I've learned about leadership through my various different clubs that I'm involved in and being the class president for 2 years of my class, and also through finding out that I do have the ability inside me to be a leader and lead people towards something that we want to do.
Have you read any books or anything on leadership?
Yeah, I have read the Strength Finder 2.0 from Gallup that my coach had me read, and I also took his test to find out the ways that I'm a leader and how I lead people. The 7 elements of healthy living and being a healthy teenager.
Who were some of the influential leaders in your life?
Some of the influential leaders in my life were definitely my parents and my coaches and upperclassmen.
How do they lead?
My parents definitely lead by example, showing my sister and I how we want to be successful people in our lives and showing us that maybe some of the choices that they made in their life weren't the best, but we learn from their mistakes and learn not to make the same mistakes. My coaches, they also lead by example, but they lead by showing me how to get a group of people together and work to do something amazing.
Do you feel leading is difficult at your age?
I feel like people think leading at my age is difficult, when in reality it's not. We can all lead. It's just having good communication skills and getting past the being on your phone, constantly texting, not knowing how to talk to people face to face, and how to convince a group of people that you're a trustworthy person and that your ideas are something great and that they want to be on board with what you have to say.
Do you feel sometimes that it's hard to lead when other adults are around or people who are older than you?
Sometimes when adults are around, you feel like I'm the child, I'm the less experienced one, so maybe I should step back and be quiet, but that's not always true. Sometimes you have things to say that adults don't always think of, and as long as you're being respectful and using a tone that shows that you're not meaning to be disrespectful or hurtful in any way, and that your ideas really are good, and that your intentions are in the right place, sometimes you can lead adults.
What are some of the challenges that your generation faces when it comes to leadership?
Some of the challenges that we face, definitely, like I said before, is how to communicate with others effectively and show them that I can talk to you face to face. I don't have a screen in front of me, and we can be on the same page. I can build a relationship with you, and you can trust me to lead you in the right direction and help you accomplish things.
You said earlier that sometimes when you're in your phone, people go to their phone, they're in their own little universe. Can you elaborate more on that, please?
Definitely. When you're on your phone, you have time to think about the response that you want to make. You can sit there for minutes, sometimes hours, and formulate a response. But when you're face to face with someone, if you sat there thinking about your response for minutes, they're gonna think you're a weirdo. So you have to speak right away and speak your mind. And you have to know how to use words effectively that are gonna get that person on your side.
Excellent. Do you feel everyone has leadership qualities?
I definitely think everyone has the ability to be a leader and leadership qualities. Sometimes they just don't know it. Not everybody knows that there's different ways to be a leader and that there's different strategies that you can use to lead people. Some people think it's all about the stepping up and being in front of people, and that's really out of their comfort zone. But that's not how it is. Sometimes building a relationship with somebody and having them be on board with your ideas is one way to be a leader with someone, and it doesn't always mean that person that stands up and talks in front of everybody.
Excellent, excellent. Why do you feel some people choose not to lead?
I think some people choose not to lead because of fear. Because like I said before, they're afraid that they have to be that person that stands up in front of everyone and talks and makes a decision that not everyone is comfortable with or agrees with, when in reality, that's not the truth. Being a leader is about helping people to achieve their goals and being able to achieve your own as well. Showing people the right way and getting people to be on board with your ideas and opinions.
Look at your own leadership qualities. What are they?
My leadership qualities are, from the Strength Finder test, definitely positivity. I'm always the one in the group that when everybody else is down, I'm still thinking and picking out the pieces that were positive, that we did well together, and that hey, you might be down right now, but it could always be worse. At least you're not dead. Also, there's adaptability and strategic. I'm definitely the person that can adapt to something that was thrown at them that we weren't expecting, and I can take the strategy and break it down piece by piece, make the list of our strengths and what we have to get done to achieve something, even though we had this awful curveball thrown at us. Achiever, from every day, I start at point zero, and I have to, at the end of the day, have something tangible to say that I accomplished something today. And then belief, I have strong morals, and I really value respect, and I want people to respect me, and I always want others to know that I respect them as well. And people can trust me because of this.
So when you took that StrengthsFinders test, what was your initial reaction? And do your results actually make sense?
My initial reaction was definitely, this is me. I laughed at a ton of the definitions of the strengths because I was like, yep, this is me. Being the positive one in the family when everybody's like, all right, this was awful, or on the team, this was awful. And I'm like, no, hey, we did this really well. They're like, hey, now, let's just be not positive for a second. Or like being the achiever, the person that, like I said, starts from point zero and always wants to have something at the end of the day to show that they've done something and always wants to get things done. Other members of my family are not the same way, and they sometimes tell me, you need to calm down a little bit. We just want to have a relaxing day, but that's not the type of person that I am. And from adaptability, strategic, and believer, I definitely saw those qualities in myself when I read through it. I was like, this is me. I didn't expect this test to be that accurate, but it told me a lot about myself.
How do you show leadership in your own life?
I show leadership through the different clubs and organizations that I'm a part of. Being class president, starting freshman year, I knew that senior year we wanted to take an amazing trip, and we wanted to have the funds to take that trip. So I knew that we needed to have some type of fundraising ideas to get funding for this trip. So I sat down with my advisors and we talked and we thought of a plan, and we made the plan of freshman year, the spaghetti dinner, where we would sell tickets to the community, have people come in, and we would make spaghetti and we'd serve them a spaghetti dinner, and they could sit down with their family and enjoy that dinner. And we would be good hostesses and waitresses and waiters. And I had to pitch that idea to my class and get them on board with it. Tell them that we want to take an amazing trip and we want to have the funds for this. And this is a great way to not only give to ourselves but give back to our community and show them that our class is full of amazing humans.
How have your results been when leading? Not only just in class president, but as in other leadership roles you have.
My results have definitely been mostly good. Sometimes there's going to be the people that don't agree with what you have to say, and you can never take that to heart. You have to let it roll off your back. But most people are usually, they're on board with what I want to do. They agree with my ideas, and they can always know that they can trust me and that I'm looking for what's best and what's in our best interest. So my leadership skills and my opportunities that I've had to lead have mostly been successful, whether it's like being class president or being in the art club and having the advisor of art club tell me that we need to schedule a date, and they know that they can trust me to get a date that works for everyone, and I can communicate with other people what we want to do and the ideas that we have.
Excellent, excellent. How have you used your knowledge of your strengths in your leadership positions?
I have used my knowledge of my strengths to know that the strengths that I have don't really fall under the influential category, which I've known before that I'm not really the person that is going to influence someone to be with part of my ideas. I'm the person that wants to build up a relationship. I want you to be my friend, and I want to know more about you. And through that relationship that we've built, I want to get you on my side. And that's how I use strategy as well, is I've built a relationship with you, and I know your skills, and I know that you may be a good influencer. So I want you to be on my side, be helpful with my ideas, and be supportive of my ideas to help get the other people to be along with me as well.
Wonderful. How can you use what you've learned about your leadership into your sports career?
Definitely always being the positive one. I know that I'm positive, and so I want other people to know that I'm positive as well. Whether it's on the court or on the field, when we run into a situation that we may not have been expecting, this goes along with adaptability. Like, these huge mammoth-sized girls come onto the field, and we were not expecting this. And they're expecting that they're going to take us tiny girls from Elmwood down. I have to convince everyone else and help get them on board to adapt to this change. Like, yes, we may be small, but we're still ferocious little beasts. We can give this team a run for their money, and we are going to accomplish a goal. So use the strategy to take the curveball and adapt by using our own strengths.
Excellent. How will your experiences with leadership help to shape your future?
My experiences with leadership are going to help take me to great places, I believe. I have, from a young age, always wanted to do great things with my life. I've wanted to go to Madison for college since as long as I can remember, and I've always wanted to not only just lead in high school, but lead once I get out of high school. Be maybe that CEO that's sitting at the head of their office in their big chair like I am right now, leading a group of people to do something amazing, create amazing products that can help other people. And I've always wanted to be that person that when someone else has a problem, they know they can come to me and that I'll lead them in the right direction. So I hope that my leading skills and my leadership qualities can help me to achieve great things.
Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah, thank you.